Come join me as I do a reading for myself. Doing a self reading is, I don't always recommend doing self readings because um, you could have confirmation bias in a sense that you may not like. You could trigger a self fulfilling prophecy, or you can totally screw it over. Um, what I always recommend to people who do self readings is they just use it as a reference, because there's a large chance you're going to mess it up for yourself if you are relying on the efficacy of the self read. That's why oftentimes we'll just have someone else do it for me because when I do it for myself, um, yeah, as I mentioned, confirmation bias. Having someone else do it, you could still screw it up because you've just went into the realm of just kind of spoiling it for yourself. So yeah, well, this thing's glitching out. November 1st. So let's see. Let me just switch this to pure tarot only. There we go. That way we get rid of relying on the other camera. So, yeah, I don't oftentimes recommend people do um, self readings unless they're really they know how to manage expectations for themselves. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Because there have been many times where I kind of spoiled it for myself in a way, and things just didn't turn out. Like, let's say, for instance, I was trying to scry, to foresee, to learn the truth of my future, right? Let's say about me getting a job because, unemployed. Or even me finding love. The love thing, it does happen. That's the thing. Like, that's why I got to be very careful about what I wish for because that stuff does occur. And I need to be very mindful of my journey when it comes to interpersonal relationships because since I know it can happen, I need to be very responsible, right? Great power comes great responsibility. Um, because, yeah, there, I have to be prepared for the how much influence relationships can have on me. Because I know I'm vulnerable to relationships. I think a lot of people are. It's a wonderful strength when you understand your own personal power and you start to realize how valuable, how sacred that personal space, that personal um, existence is, and being strong enough to even blend in with someone who they themselves also have a personal strength and recognition and are in that wonderful journey of combination with another soul. It's like unlearning what you have learned. That's a phrase that stuck with me for the longest of time, the phrase unlearning what you have learned. And I learned that phrase watching some like movie Buddhist thing. I think I watched Enter the Dragon. One of the monks that Bruce Lee was speaking to or found mentorship under mentioned unlearning what you've learned, or might have been another movie. Either way, I was always puzzled with that ever since I was young. And as I became an adult, um, I started to understand what that meant. It's like, yes, you have learned, you have accepted, you have become this thing, this achievement. Now when you let go of all that thinking, what are you left? Do you still retain it? What is your instinct? Who are you after the education has been given, has been exercised, has been taught? And that's something that it's a big deal for me, especially now. And as I'm doing this reading for myself, I want to mention some updates of where I am, my life. Recently started. So since I'm still looking for work, I've been working on things. I have a client, thanks to my buddy, who relayed that client over to me, so that way he can give me something that I can subsist off of. So I'm really grateful to him. Thank you, John, for Senor Balboa, for giving me an opportunity to work with wonderful clients, and just so the same, I hope to help him going forward. I think building a community is a really big it's a big thing, and I'm really grateful for all my friends and family who have built a community. I know that there have been friends that want to be close to me really quick, and I have to apologize for all those friends that just got really close to me too quick. I get my boundaries kind of flare up when you get too close to me too fast. I prefer kind of the gradual conversating over time. And I do desire that people do spend time with me in the things that I am interested in, not just abruptly just trying to get into what I'm into, because that's I find that a little invasive. It's a little deceiving because I do, do videos, vlogs, a lot of social media, and that may be giving a false positive for people to just jump in. I want people to, take it slow, get to know me, talk to me, and when you're in that circle of trust and support, I will give you 100, 200%, because even my mom is afraid of how giving I can be. And, I want to be able to support all of my friends or those who have something to achieve that I can contribute to however much I can. So, you know, just, but yeah, going back into friends and being able to find support while I'm looking for work. Thank you for everyone that's watching this and being able to receive my thanks. Thank you for being my support. So yeah, so alongside that, I finally filed an LLC for Nerd Knots. Thanks to everyone that contributed to voting for that name and everything else. Nerd Knots is now an LLC. I already established a corporate page on LinkedIn. What I desire to do from that is what is it? I'm actually going to use Nerd Knots, aside from doing my systems thinking and other content on the main vlog. I want to use my social media presence on LinkedIn as a public audit. Now, you might wonder, JB, isn't doing a public audit, like calling people out on their really bad user experience, a horrible thing for your career? I'm like, no, not really. We are in a time where there are so many companies taking advantage of people that are not prepared to be taken advantage of, because no one's going to be prepared to be taken advantage of. Being taken advantage of is the work of con men. And I want to tell you, in the realm of user experience, you can be conned. User experience, for those that don't know my field, we use behavioral sciences, behavioral studies, in order to design interfaces. And I always bring up Cambridge Analytica because they are a research and application type of company that takes a lot of what they've learned in order to manipulate people, groups, and societies. That's why they were so successful in other countries and manipulating them for whatever political ends was that they were paid to manipulate. And that's why there's a documentary on Netflix. So when it comes to user experience, at the default of using behavioral sciences, we endeavor to ensure that you get to where you want to go within a given digital product, typically a digital product, and you have no problem getting there. You enjoy the experience. There's an altruistic, there's a good natured reason why we're doing our work. But because it's still a job at the end of the day, a lot of the things that we research and validate and provide are being utilized by whoever is paying you. So you are still being funneled into whatever the company feels will maximize their profit or their outcome. And because of that, they deserve to be audited. They deserve to be ensured that if you're going to wring us of all of the precious dollars we have in this economy, you might as well do it to where we can both understand what the navigation of the website is like, what our options are, and frankly, we need to know if we're making the right decision for us, not the decision that you want us to make for on the behalf of you making money off of us. We don't want to be manipulated. We don't want to be abused. We want to have the freedom to make our decisions the way we want to make decisions. And so, Nerd Knots, despite me doing a lot of systems thinking on the YouTube side and just me generally posting on my Instagram, I want to be able to use Nerd Knots as a platform on LinkedIn to hold companies accountable for what they are trying to convince us to do. So that's what Nerd Knots is. I know it's demanding a lot of work from me, but at the same time, it's work that I care about. I care highly about the ethical side of things. I care about the ethical side of psychology. I care about the ethical side of spirituality. That's why sometimes you'll see videos of me doing, videos about me ranting about how spirituality is manipulating people against their better wishes, their better halves, their more altruistic side. It's because there is a level of corruption in spirituality, just like in psychology, where it is not always in your best interest, even though it was designed for that purpose, because there is a side to it outside of spirituality where materialism is extracted from you, and that comes by means of excess donations, doing things that you may not actually be wanting to do, which leads to complicated interpersonal relationship situations that lead to sexual abuse, that lead to trauma. And these things exist in both the realms of psychology and spirituality. And these are things I care about. So in continuation of that point, I want to say that I also am in the process of finalizing my nonprofit, which revolves around elements of user experience, systems thinking, and accountability. And that's something that I am co-founding with several of my friends in the industry. And I am the biz dev person, so a lot of that filing and organizing and putting out there in the universe is being developed by me with contributions from my team, but I'm the one responsible for filing. So I think I'm just going to be using these decks. I haven't really used this deck. So if you're still with me as I'm ranting and doing a reading on myself, first and foremost, thank you for continuing to listen to me about my updates. But I'm happy to have you here alongside me as I do this. I don't think everyone knows that I do tarot or readings. I try not to expose this part. I do have a tarot reading channel, and I do read for friends here and there. But yeah, that tarot channel isn't really active, but I do store my readings I do for friends there. Whoa, that was a bad idea. Don't burn the mat. No. Alright, the mat will live. It just starts to liquefy parts of this thing. Okay, cool. All right. Um, I think we should start with, um, I have so many tools for readings. And right now I'm cleansing my mind of expectations. I'm just going to read as though I'm reading for someone else. And that's the most important part if you're going to try to read for yourself is you need to cleanse expectations from your mind. It's a hard thing for a lot of people, but I've lived so much in the present that a lot of my anxieties of the future are really gone. There are things that I would desire, but for the most part, um, I try to keep away from expectations. Just because, yeah, I don't want to expect things. Um, Hold on. I need a dice tower. All right. I typically only use a handful of these dice for people. Actually, I probably will only use a handful of dice for these people. I'm going to use these four in my hands. It's like that's what I picked up. This dice tower I typically use for tabletop games. Now I'm using it for oracle readings. Okay. Um. Okay, so immediately what came to mind, which is very fascinating. Um, for some reason, I'm seeing physical activity, a picnic, some sort of dancing, and this points out as wealth. But here, let me try to look at some other stuff to reinforce what I'm looking at. I'm gonna ground this with a tarot reading. I'm not the master at reading all the triangulations of tarot. That's why this deck has a lot of helper text on it. I truly admire many readers who have understood how to triangulate all these things, but I try to read intuitively so I don't always rely on the definitions. I just kind of feel things out. So I guess I can less of a reader, more of an intuitive. Jeez. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Typically, when I do readings for friends, it's like a 9-card spread that I triangulate. I'm just going to do 6. I don't need to know the overarching themes. That's going to be represented by something else. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke in here. That's okay. It's the incense. This incense throws out a lot of smoke. But hey, as long as you know I'm not smoking cigarettes, it's a little bad for my lungs either way because it's this close. But all right, temperance. So usually there's like a upper layer which is like the overarching themes. This is like what I can physically see in the present, and then this is kind of like things that are happening in the background, right? So it's like sky, um, it's above, middle earth, and then below, like emotional. It's internal, outer, middle, external. It's like ego, super ego in a way. I keep getting temperance on a lot of the things. So basically, this is just asking me to be patient. That's really the thing. It's like thematically, when I've had readings either done to me or for me, temperance is really, yeah, you want to do more, but you got to hold on. You got to, lay back. Seven of Pentacles, it's just a lot of hard work. I mean, you can see this man here, hard work, and then more hard work, right? This is just toil, right? It's just going back and forth. This reminds me of the stakes that you put in the ground when you're gardening, vine type plants, and then this is just plants growing. So there's a lot of toil. So this is basically the gardening sequence right here. Um, and behind the emotionally, what's underneath the background. Speak your truth to achieve your goals. Feel your sadness with the knowing that the sun will shine. The sun will shine again. Find your inspiration. Take action. So this is technically what's happening right now, as I mentioned a little bit. Speak your truth. So basically, have your principles, and just focus. Even though I'm feeling a little flustered, a little sad that things aren't happening yet, still employed, still kind of surviving, that things are looking up eventually. And this is a person looking at the horizon. Three of Wands. It's just they're looking where the ships are going. It's like forecasting. It's looking ahead. And so even though right now I'm just really just working on stuff, this is showing me that I just got to stick to my guns. I got to stick to my principles. I just got to forecast, keep moving, going forward. Okay, so that's pretty clear, pretty straightforward. Wonderful self-read on this. It all connects. It makes sense, especially with what I've just spoken about right before the read. So you get to see dynamically how what I've said matches with the randomness of what's being read. So confirmation bias, sure, in a sense, but at the same time, it kind of matches up. This one is the Angelarium of Emanations. I love this artist and the artist that he employs in order to duplicate his style. And so I will pull a card from here. All right. I'm going to pull from the center. So thematically, what I'm getting is the Angel of Mysteries. He has the Book of Mysteries here. Things that have yet to come forward. And here from the Oracle of the Fallen, which is the next deck that came from this artist. I will pull from here as well. From the center. And I got the Angel of the Eclipse. So let's look at the book for these. Let's start with the Angel of Emanations, Angel of Mysteries, Raziel. Raziel, where are you, sir? Angel of Mysteries. There are some things we simply cannot know. Such is the precious narrative of life. We can know the parts of the play, but not the story's end. Secrets and hidden endings keep the performance alight and dancing through the universe. Wonderful. So that's Raziel. Now let's look at Samshiel, the Angel of the Eclipse. I have not used this deck for reading yet, so I'm really curious. Samshiel. Where is the Angel of the Eclipse? 35. Angel of the Eclipse. All right. Something powerful is set to disappear soon. The light will still be there, but you won't have access to it for a time. Keeping the faith when the world is cold can be hard, but it's a worthy cause. Trapped in the moment of an eclipse can feel like a place apart from the rest of reality, but it's an illusion. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Okay, so kind of you can't know everything, right? Because then it kind of kills the fun of play. And then Samshiel is the just keeping up the faith, because even if things are difficult, you just got to keep going. So that matches up with what we have here. Oddly enough, it actually pairs like this too. Just keeping the faith, keep going. And this one is, yeah, I mean, I guess this can also go here, but basically keep going. Okay, so this This is something that I've introduced into my readings. There is an artist. I think her name is Loish, and I use her his this deck of postcards as a type of reading system. I told my friend Sasha about this. I said, you know what? I can take that gallery deck that she's putting out, and I could use it for readings. And I've only used, I think I've used it once for one of my friends, and it worked within the context of the reading. So I thought it was really fun, and now I'm going to use this on myself. So this will be the second time. I believe this is the second time. Maybe second or third time. And I will be using it on myself. So I'm going to pull card number 5 because 5 is my favorite number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. That is beautiful. That is incredible. She is a fantastic artist, but look at that. If there is anything beautiful to see in a reading like this makes me want to breathe deep all of this incense. No, I'm just kidding. It like when I see things like this, especially in video games or in tapestries, you just kind of want to take a deep breath as though you're there. And this makes me feel happy. This makes me feel deep in my emotions. Just this calm, this peace, this feeling of like I've made it, right? I don't see this as the mountains are too big. I don't see this as there's just so much left to do. Yeah, there is parts of that. There's essence of where I could kind of draw from here and a little bit from here. Like, for instance, here, 3 of Wands, this horizon yet to conquer, this mountain left to conquer. But this isn't a dead, like, dry mountain. This isn't an ice-covered mountain. This is a very green, verdant mountain. And there's a level of happiness that I can see here. And it's beautiful. And corroborating it with this, something about a picnic, having fun with someone, wealth, some type of physical activity, this being active is what I'm picking up from that. So picnic, being active, spending time with someone special, even if it's close friends, and finding that wealth. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, this is probably the first reading I've done for myself in years. I typically don't read for myself, so this is, and I'm recording it, so you get to see. I get to talk a little bit about what's been going on with me. You get to see doing a reading for myself, what that's like, and how I do readings. And you know what? I'm gonna do one more card. This is the Decolonized deck. I've shuffled this many times. This is created by my talented friend and extended family member, Kathleen. And I'm a big supporter of pre-colonial Philippines history and culture, and getting in touch with that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm learning Tagalog right now, or Filipino. It's because I want to get in touch with my culture and that history that I'm a part of, and the history that we're missed. And there's reasons for that, but I'll get into that like probably in an actual video. But yeah, let me pull from here. Actually, let me pull a vertical. So what you have here is a 6 of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and a 7 of Pentacles. I just pulled a Seven of Pentacles. Six of Swords, don't have a sword here. But it's fascinating because reading this versus reading something like this and just reading intuitively, they read different than your standard Rider-Waite. This looks like, man, there's work, there's fruits of this labor, but this one's like, all right, it's time to gather with others and prepare for a harvest. This one, Page of Pentacles, is looking at something and recognizing there is a bounty here, someone that is just new to it, like a newcomer, right? That's looking at this pentacle. It's like, all right, there's a potential here. This one, the way this reads to me is you've set a foundation and there is a journey that you can follow. This actually resonates the way a combination of Ace of Swords and Three of Wands is, but Three of Wands, this is looking at the horizon. This one, to me, is pointing out that you have the means to move forward. Because this person is watching from a cliff, cliff out in the horizon where the ships are. This one's pointing out that you're on the ship. You have the guidance. Oh, that is so fascinating. That is very different of how I would read a swords, the swords cards of this, and just different way of looking at the pentacles this way. So fantastic change of how this would read. But aside from that, I think I'm going to close this out here. This probably has at least 10 minutes of burning to do. But thank you for watching me do a reading of myself and getting to know a little bit of what's been happening with me. Hopefully, me doing divination did not offend you. But this is definitely a process I use to kind of explore the realm of creativity, if not a little bit of spirituality. And hopefully we'll see a lot of this come to fruition. So use this as a means of keeping tabs on me and seeing if a lot of this comes to a better horizon. So yeah, thank you. All right, I'll catch you guys later.